All right, so first of all, our weekly updates. For this week, we did have 4 ejections this week. 2 were for fighting, 2 were for unsportsmanlike conduct, both in JV games, ironically enough. All right, so it was interesting. Strangely enough, we did have an appeal. And when we do have appeals, first of all, my policy, okay, as our VHSL commissioner is, I absolutely will not override you on any sort of judgment call. Certainly will not override an ejection. But what I will do is if there is an appeal, then I will pass any supporting evidence, usually video, to you and to your crew and ask you to take another look at it and see if you want to change your call. That did happen this week, and the crews chose not to change their call. One interesting thing that we discovered is that in the rule book, all right, there really is no mention of fighting or punching in the lacrosse rule book. Everything says altercation. VHSL, their suspension rules do use the word fighting. All right, so as I explained to them, certainly our ejection met the criteria for altercation, and they agreed and everything was upheld. All right, so great job by our officials, and the system prevailed. It was a little disconcerting that the athletic director was so adamant about it. Thought that was a little curious, but anyway, we all get a little fired up over certain things. Okay, so we are looking at playoffs coming up here in the not too distant future. They will start in the next in about 2 weeks. Okay, and we have 110 games, 330 slots total. Okay, somewhere in that number, might be give or take a few. All right, and you may be asked to travel a little bit. We're going to want to bring some guys up north. We're going to want send some people down south. So please adjust. Remember, it's only varsity games. All right, we're not going to be looking at anything earlier than a 6 o'clock start for most. Okay, a lot of double headers with girls games, and we often are the second game. So we're looking at kind of a 6 and 7:30 thing. All right. So again, if this is new to you, okay, then this is, where you get your chance to do the bigger games and the games that mean something. Okay, so please make sure that you can adjust, and any way you can open up your blocks during that time frame, please do so. It could have a big effect on your postseason. All right, our end of the season family picnic. Okay, we haven't done this in a few years, but we're trying to get it back on the books. I think we're going to consistently shoot for the Sunday before Labor Day each year. And that way people can kind of lock it in. All right, once we get past Labor Day with playoffs, summer tournaments, travel, we can't get anything. We've tried for so many years to do something after Labor Day. It's just really difficult. So this seems to be a good spot. Please RSVP to the Evite invitation. Okay, as some of you know, my wife takes a big part in this, and we do want to respect her time and give her as much information as possible to help us make this a success. All right, and as always with me, please continue to complete those peer evaluations, which we're obviously talking about today, and the game reports. Every game, please. All right, please make sure that the scores are in there. Oftentimes, I get asked by the schools if we know the score to a game, which that's a whole other conversation. But please remember to do that. All right. Let's see if we can get the slide to go. There it is. All right, so next week, we've got Dave Medvedev. All right, How I Made It 30 Years. So Dave's one of the longest members, if not the longest member we have here in WALOA. Okay, he's been around forever. As a matter of fact, many of you saw on the Facebook group that we just got or there was a picture put up of Dave, who helped start the McLean Lacrosse Club a long time ago. And then obviously he moved over to the officiating side. All right, so I want to hear from Dave, and certainly he can share some insight. All right, one of our favorites on May, Jose Olivero. All right, how to keep smiling on the field. Okay, the man can just do any game with a smile, and maybe he can give us some insight on how to do that. All right, finally, on May 15th, Rob and I will talk to you about, all right, the playoffs and what we're looking for, and just some reminders and things to think about. All right, we are back to a full slate of playoff games. Some things are different than they were 2 years ago because the districts have changed, because the regions have changed, because the format has changed, and we'll go over all that with you at the time. Okay. All right, the only point of emphasis that I have right here that we haven't already gone over, okay, is the fact that it's going to get hot. So take care of yourself and hydrate. Okay, we know that. All right, so please make sure you stay healthy. Okay, get through the JV game to save it for the varsity game. That's certainly fine. All right, the kids start to get testy this time of year. All right, they make sure that you do see it coming. So set that tone early, make that big call early if you have to get a game under control. A lot of lopsided games this year. I never would have guessed that the Oakton-Madison game would have been a 13-1 ball game. But again, we just seem to have the haves and have-nots this season. There is no gray area. It is black or white, whether you are a competitive team or not. And it appears that just everybody's chasing Robinson, Riverside, and Dominion. And we'll see if that shakes out through the postseason. All right. All right, on to today's topic. Okay, evaluations. All right, what do they say? Let me see. I guess you can't see that. There you go. All right, so what do they say? So these are about the peer evaluation. I know you guys always wonder about this. I know this is a big sticking point. Okay. And one of the reasons why we now keep them private is because we want to give people an opportunity to speak openly and honestly. Okay. We really do use this information, and this information is valuable to us, and we hope to communicate that with you today. All right, here's a quote from John Wooden. For those of you who don't know who John Wooden is, he was the longtime basketball coach at UCLA. All right, and without proper self-evaluation, failure is inevitable. And the reason why I put this up here is that it really doesn't matter what other people think of you as much as it matters what you think of yourself. The overarching conversation that I have with officials that I communicate with on a regular basis, and a lot of the senior officials in this association communicate with through phone call on a regular basis, I will tell them when I look at the evaluations and I talk to certain officials, it's amazing to me how not self-aware you are. Okay, that you can't look at yourself and see that you need to work on this or work on that. It truly is amazing to me that a lot of officials believe that they truly are better than they are. Okay, and don't get me wrong, we're very good as an association. We're a very good group of officials across the board, but there are some officials that are better than others, and it's very difficult for some people to figure out where they fall in that rank. Okay, so I would encourage you to look in the mirror, look video. All right, the NFHS platform, okay, includes quite a few videos. You certainly can find a few of the games that you've officiated in there. And I think the subscription was either $11 a month or $70 for the year. All right, so not a whole lot for some self-evaluation. All right, so why do we use peer evaluations? Well, first of all, we simply can't be everywhere. All right, as much as I would love to, as much as I enjoy doing this, there's only so many games that I'm going to be able to get to in one night. All right, for those of you that don't know, I'm often out, especially when the weather's nice with my wife. I kind of have to hide her sometimes because you can pick out her blonde hair a mile away. And we will go around and try to hit multiple games in a night if we can, if it works. But we generally come unannounced, and we'll take a look and just see how everything is going on. All right. The video helps us see mechanics. The peer evals largely tells us about coachability and attitude. Okay. And the coachability within your crew and your attitude within your crew. And believe it or not, you can read through that in some of the comments that are made. All right, so that's really what it tells us. All right, because you see things differently than we do. You have a say in this process. This is an association, not a dictatorship. Okay, so you see things a lot differently than we do. Okay, we really look at these peer evaluations when making those post-season assignments. Okay, and certain criteria within those evaluations are required to get to certain levels of games as we make those evaluations. So don't think of it anything more than a tool for the assigners to use to help us make accurate assignments. All right. We also have a fiduciary and a contractual duty to our clients, which is not you, it's the schools. Okay, that's who we have an actual contract with. All right, and if you're not sure what the definition of fiduciary is, I wrote it out for you. Fiduciary is a person or organization that acts on behalf of another person or persons, putting their client's interests ahead of their own, with a duty to preserve good faith and trust. Okay, so what this means to me is that it's my job to put the best available officials on a game for that particular game, because that is who we have the contract with. I don't have an obligation to put you on that game. I have an obligation to put good officials on that game. Now, do we try to give you chances? Sure. All right. And we certainly realize that probably 80% of our officials could do almost any game out there, all right, with the right crew. Okay. But in certain situations, there are better officials. You've certainly noticed this year, especially in Area 4, that we have moved around the R slot quite a bit and have given a lot of people different opportunities to experience games as the R. All right. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. Okay. And we need to know that. All right, so that's one of the reasons why we do this each year. Okay. All right. So what's your obligation to us? Meaning, what's my obligation to you? Right. Well, assignments. All right. Commensurate with your ability level. All right. Chances to improve by doing higher level games. All right. Evaluation. All right. I try to see you in person. Now, oftentimes I would come and see you in person and let you know that I was there. Okay. This is the WALOA model. WALOA used to let the old WALOA model, let's put it that way. All right. WALOA, all right, used to announce evaluations. You would know you were going to be evaluated and you'd be a nervous wreck, okay, going into the game, depending on what game you were doing. All right. Especially if you were a younger official. Now they do something similar to what is done, where they will come to an evaluation, not let you know that they're there, and show up after the game is over, usually not at halftime. Now, in our situation, because we're doing all evening games, usually what you'll see is I'll pop down and I'll say hi at halftime and let you know if I've got anything for you. And then I'm gone. I'm going to go at that point, because at that point, I don't want to be a distraction to you. All right. I was at a game earlier this week where we had a senior official who was also at the game, and he immediately noticed that the crew was officiating differently because I was there. Immediately noticed it. Okay. Obviously, that's not something I want to do. And obviously, that's not something you want to do. But I don't want you to be tight, but I do want you to give your best effort every time you're there. Okay. So I am not God here. I'm not, trying to control the universe as far as lacrosse officiating goes, but I have a job to do. I have a job, and I take that job very seriously, as a lot of you know. So I'm looking at what your abilities are on the field, so I can match you up with the appropriate games, especially as we move into the postseason. All right, so peer evaluations. Okay, so that is how you get evaluated. Now, if you would like to learn more about your peer evaluation after the season is over, or at least after we get through the early meat of the playoff season and we have a little bit more time, we can schedule individual meetings, all right, for about 30 minutes. And I'll give you an idea of what your evaluations say. Why don't we release these to everybody and let you see what they say? Because number one, people won't be honest. We already have a problem right now with certain people not being honest. All right, I got a couple of officials who give everybody 5s, who give everybody 10s, no matter what you do. All right, everybody's the greatest official in the world to them because they think that it's unfair and that that somebody's going to see it anyway. That I'm not really honest about that, but whatever. There's always going to be naysayers, and we have to work through that. Okay, but if you want to see what they actually say, or going back to what I said, if the reason why we don't put the information out there is we've actually had situations where officials have quit because they've seen some of the rhetoric. Okay, you are not the nicest people sometimes when you write your evaluations, but you're honest, and that's okay. I can parse through what you mean and figure it out, and I can deliver that message hopefully in a little bit better way. All right, as now a retired teacher of 25 years, I hope to God that I've learned how to deliver a message in a way that people can learn from it and get a little bit better. All right. So that's the thought process. Again, if you do want to schedule a meeting, I'll put out an email. And Rob certainly can do this for the area too, specific officials, that says, hey, if you want to talk to us about what your evaluations say, how you can improve, then we'll do that. Okay. All right, coaches evaluations. Now, we're not using those this year. That was an interesting one. We didn't use them last year for obvious reasons. Things were crazy last year. We just wanted to get through the season. This year, I decided to hold back. We knew we were in a situation where we need our officials. We don't want to be overly critical in a situation where we need people, right? So what was I going to do with them? I'm not sure I was going to do much with them at all. In all honesty, I don't do very much with them anyway. It's a tool for the coaches. I had one coach who reached out and said, hey, where are the peer evaluations? Actually, 2 coaches. Where are the coaches' evaluations? I went back and looked at 2019, and we had a response rate of like 3%. Okay, but that's useless to me. Okay, it's useless to me. There's a little bit of anecdotal data that will come through, but it's really useless. If we can't get better participation out of the coaches, then all in all, they're not very good. All right, the observation program, all right, that's run by Chris Adams, our vice president. All right, so remember, reach out to Chris if you would like an observation. Okay, now, interestingly enough, okay, we've had a couple of officials this year who are injured, okay, who may be able to step up and do some evaluations. Also, the schedule is largely set at this point. All right, so we don't have a whole lot of games left to assign. Okay, so people know their schedules and they might be able to get out there and actually see you for an observation. So if you would like to arrange that, get in touch with Chris Adams, chris.adams@waloa.org, and see what's possible. Okay. All right, so on to the dirt. Okay, so what do the numbers say? So this is all this data is for the first half. Okay, because when you're using that 5-point scale, as you guys know, we're using the 10-point scale now. All right, so the completion rate, 1,363 complete. Sounds pretty good, right? 611 not complete, 31%. So what's that say? Well, it says a lot of things. All right, a third of our officials are either lazy, don't believe in the process, or can't figure it out. Right? Those are really the only 3 reasons. Okay. Again, I can't emphasize enough that we have put this information behind the firewall. Okay, that the only people who can see it are myself and Bobby. Okay, Rob actually even has to go through me to get it. All right, so those kind of things. So again, we've really tried to protect this information, take your privacy seriously, and I would really appreciate if anybody that can remember specific things about those officials would go back and complete. They still are available to be completed. It would be great to see that number maybe creep up somewhere around 15%, or number up to 1,500, and the not completed down to about 20%. I really would like to see that. All right, that again, the more aggregate data we have, the better. All right, the scores, our average score across area 2 and 4, which was 89 officials, if I remember right, 3.89. The highest, all right, is 5.0. I'll give you one guess who that is. You see him on TV every week, in case you're wondering. All right, and the lowest is a 2.35. All right, 2.35. Okay, so gives you an idea where we are. Bump that up to a 10-point scale. Theoretically, that should be a 10 and a 5, right, or a 4.7, whatever you would put. Okay, now nobody wants to be that 2.35 guy. All right, but generally these officials are newer, and there's a lot of mechanics things, and there's easy things to grade them down on because they're obvious. The challenge gets to be at the top, right? We know who the 5 guy is, right? But hardly any of us in here could be the 5 guy. Maybe we've done it once, okay, in our career. This guy can do it every week, and we're amazed by it, right? So what is that? How do we, when we compare ourselves to that being our 5, okay, being fortunate enough to have somebody of that caliber in our association, how do we adjust to that? What does that mean, right? So that's why we moved to the 10-point scale, was to give you a little bit more room. Okay, well, he's maybe not a 10, but he's definitely a 9, right? That kind of thing. All right, so we'll see how that goes and see which one makes sense going forward. All right, the top 20, okay, so the top 20 officials in our group scored between a 4.33 and a 5.0. Okay, if I gave you a test and I said list the top 20 officials, I bet you would get 15 of them right. Okay, they're usually people that you know, and they're usually people that you would expect to be there. All right, obviously many of them are college officials or have been college officials. Okay, so that would make sense, but it's people that are well down the path in their career and have made a lot of mistakes along the way. All right, the bottom 20 scored between the 2.35 and a 3.55. Okay, so that leaves, all right, 50 people. So 50 people scored between the 3.5 and a 4.3. So you can see the range is narrow. Having 0.8 of 1, or yeah, 0.8, I guess, is a range in there is not enough range. Okay, so that's the idea of elongating the scale to see. I'd rather see somebody be a 6 rather than a 7, or a 7 rather than an 8, as opposed to a 4.3 versus a 4.2, right? Kind of wrapping your head around that is a little bit more difficult. We do so many things on a 10-point scale in our world, so it seemed more appropriate to do that across the board. All right. All right, so let's go into what the actual evaluations say. So what I did is I pulled out some comments. Now, I'll admit, most of these comments are negative, okay? They're things that need to be improved, okay? There's no sense in putting the positive things up there. Oh, he's great. He's a wonderful official. He's spot on. You know, some people get so creative. You know, he's the man, and you would laugh if you saw somebody. All right, but again, it communicates the point. If people are jovial and are putting things in that are positive, then I get it, right? We get what it says. All right, but this is what I need. I love stuff like this, okay? Because this tells me, okay, this is either 2 things, something this official needs to work on or something we need to work on in training. okay, which is I plan on having a completely different training model, all right, for 2023, okay, as we approach the season, all right, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so needs to improve verbal and nonverbal communication with partners. Signaling mechanics are weak. So 2 points there. Needs to improve verbal and nonverbal communication with partners. Okay, that's wonderful information. Okay, verbal is obvious, right? So what this tells me is that the official writing this was confused in a lot of situations. Okay, so verbal and nonverbal. The verbal obviously is loud and communicative. All right, the nonverbal would be those signaling mechanics. Okay, so hopefully this is something that can be shared with this official, or that was shared with this official during the game, all right, to help them improve. But why are we talking about this? How do you do with this? All right, how is your verbal and nonverbal communication? Are your signaling mechanics on point? Do you practice them in a mirror the way all of us who have been down the officiating path have done? Yes, we all sometimes stand in the bathroom and practice our skills. Yes, we will put our 10 count on a timer and make sure that it is 10 seconds. Are you doing that? Okay, think about that. All right, I love this too, because we put so many people in the R position who were new to this year. As the R, all right, comma, should be a comma in there, right? He needs a bit better about pregame. Okay, and I think he needs to be a bit better about pregame. Now, in fairness, these were cut and pasted. All right, so you know, knowing when you fill these out, I'm not too hard on grammar. I'll grade you down for that. Okay, but what this tells me is that this referee did not put a lot of time into his pregame with the appropriate information. Okay, so every game needs some level of pregame, and it's personality driven. There are some people who are very technical with their pregames. Okay, if you want arguably the best pregame in the association, you want to talk to Corey McRae. Okay, Corey McRae is very methodical about the way he goes through his pregame, puts a lot of thought into everything. And it's a wonderful pattern, wonderful platform for you to use. That may or may not work for you, okay? That may or may not work for you, all right? But that is definitely the most comprehensive pregame I think that we have in the association, all right? Some people focus more on rules, some people focus more on matchups, some people focus more on specific things they're looking for, all right? So that's why it's important to really have that pregame. What it does is it allows us to clear our head and get our head into the game, where we're not talking about what happened in politics, all right, over the past week or so. All right, we're not talking about the price of gas. We're not talking about the stock market, all right, all those things that distract us on a daily basis. All right, so this one, okay. If we have a violation with someone leaving the restraining area early, be a comma, we need to whistle the play dead. All right, this is not a play on situation, okay? So I love technical stuff like this too, okay? This is not anecdotal. This is a fact. You screwed something up in a game, and that's what I need to know. Because if you screwed something up in a game, okay, that's my fault, because somewhere along the way, I didn't emphasize that enough in training. So what this does for me is this allows me to look at this. Okay, I got to really hammer this home next year. We got to really go over this and really make sure that everybody is clear. Okay, those of you who are on the USA Lacrosse Officials Facebook group, not our Facebook group, but the one for the national group. If you don't know where that is, shoot me an email or shoot me a Facebook message, and I'll show you where it is. It was talking about this very thing, and my God, there were like 100 comments on it, right, about what should happen. Okay, so just to be clear, if we have a violation with someone leaving the restraining area early, okay, you do want to whistle the play dead and give the ball to the appropriate team while putting everyone back. Okay, the reason why is because the person leaving the box most likely is going to leave the box and commit another foul. So you're trying to prevent that second foul from occurring. Okay, the prize has already been given. They're going to get possession, whether a second foul occurs or whether you call that first violation. Why not just kill it and give them that first violation? Okay, a face-off violation at the high school level is a little bit different. I honestly think it should be a little bit different at the college level as well, but at the high school level, let them play through it. Okay, so let's say the opponent is trying to cheat, okay, and the other kid picks the ball up 90% of the time anyway. Who cares, right? Who cares at that point, right? Clearly he's the better guy, and by killing their momentum, we may actually be harming them in the process. All right, but in this situation, it's better to kill it right away. That's why paying attention to that line and communication is a great way to do this. All right, fellas, wait for my call. Wait for my call. I'll let you know when you're good. Wait for my call. Don't go out when you think he's got the ball. Wait for me to let you know when he's got the ball. We're playing the black line, not the blue line, the black line. Make sure your feet are off the black line. You know, little things like that, just to let them know you're looking, and it gets them focused back on that, because all they care about is getting the ball. That's what their coach told them to do. Okay. As soon as there's possession, go get that ball. All right. All right. Important, especially from live to dead ball situations, to talk through the sequence of violations and penalties in case either the dead or live ball stage we have simultaneous fouls for adjudication. Okay, so if you parse through that, first of all, the first part, especially important, especially from live to dead ball situations. Okay, live ball to dead ball situations. Foul is called, you blow the whistle. Okay, now what's going on? Okay, do you still officiate? Or are you busy writing on your card or looking around? Okay, I'll tell you, one of the key mistakes I see in this area is by the trail official. All right, I watch this all the time. For some reason, this is such a focus of mine as an observer. And I'll look at it even in college games and everywhere. And I rarely see it in college games. I see it every single day at high school games. That trail official turns his back to the play. He turns his back to the play when he should be walking backwards the entire time with an open stance, being able to see both benches, the substitution area, and the people leaving the field. As that trail official, you are the traffic cop after a goal is scored. Okay. After a goal is scored, you are the traffic cop. Okay. Also, okay, the second part, okay, to talk through the sequence of violations. Okay, so we know we have a live ball foul, but what happens if we have a dead ball foul afterward? Okay, you can sit here right now and think about, okay, well, we changed it around, but did you call it a simultaneous foul, or was it a dead ball foul, or was it a simultaneous foul? Those things need to be communicated, all right? But they need to be communicated quickly. So make sure you understand that simultaneous fouls are the most misunderstood thing in our rule book. Okay, without a doubt. All right, on to the next one. Often too much talking. Games are prolonged. Okay, so you can see that this is a contradiction in styles here. Okay, so this, if I remember correctly, all right, was a non-R, an umpire or field judge critiquing the R. Okay, and that the R is a little bit of a chatterbox. Okay, so we have to find that balance. It's real difficult when we are, first of all, a lot of us know people. Okay, we see that all the time. That's one of the things that we know. A lot of the coaches, some of us know the players, and we communicate with them probably more than we should. Okay, so really figure out how you are affecting the game. Are you slowing the game down because you're talking so much? Okay, really get to the point and really bring it forward. Now, again, it didn't give any context as to who we were talking to, whether we were talking to the crews, right? But how long are your timeouts? Do you time your timeouts? Are they 3 minutes, or are they 1 minute and 30 seconds? Okay. Some of us are probably guilty, me included, of making timeouts too short. Okay. But I'll tell you, if I call a timeout in short, if I blow it in short, then what that does is give me a little bit of a leeway to not have to bang a 20-second time. All right. But if I know I've given them 2 or more than 2 minutes, then I'm like, you know, we're done. Get out here. You got 20 seconds, right? It changes the mentality. All right. I want to give them that whistle somewhere around that 1 minute mark. And that way I get them back on the field in plenty of time. Don't have to make that silly call and insert myself in the game more than I need to. Okay. All right. His appearance needs improvement. Old uniform that needs updating. Okay. I get it. Okay. We get comfortable with the things that we have. Some of us don't realize that we have uniforms that are out of spec. Okay. If you take a look at some of the pictures that pop up, which is great when they do pop up, you can see that a lot of these things fade. For those of you that don't know, the collars and the hats especially will fade, okay, into a brown. Okay. And because you're wearing it and you're not actually looking at it, you don't see it as much. Okay, the other problem we have, and I'm guilty of this too, is that especially if you wear the Under Armour shorts, okay, they tend to start fading to a gray, all right, and they really don't look very black sometimes. All right, so this is what we're talking about. I think the hat is probably the biggest thing, right? When the hat is wrinkled, when the hat is turning brown, all right, those kind of things, they really do make a difference when you look the part. All right, and there are some people who care about the way they look on the field, and there really are some people who just don't care about the way that they look on the field. All right, so think about, could this be you? All right, put your uniform on at home, stand in the mirror and see how you look, okay? How many times have you looked at a college game on TV and you've seen a guy that's dramatically overweight and been like, why is he doing college games? All right, those kind of things. You notice the appearance more than you think you do, okay? All right, communication and game management are large factors in him moving up the ranks so quickly. So I wanted to insert this as a great positive comment. Okay, recognize that this official's communication and game management skills are large factors, okay, and why he has done so well. All right, so this is something that everyone can work on. Everyone can work on, okay? Game management is something that we need to do a better job of defining, okay? There's the ability to let everyone know that you are there and in control of the game, but not necessarily wanting to be a part of the game. The things that you say during your pregame, okay? All right, I always tell the kids in my pregame that, hey, we're the third team on the field and we just came to watch, okay? That's all we did. We'll stay out of it as long as you let us stay out of it, okay? And you'd be surprised how that will set the tone for certain games, okay? But more communication is better than less communication. Use real words on the field, okay? Have ongoing conversations sometimes. You'll hear some people talk about, dinner or certain things, but just communicate and have fun while you're on the field, and the kids will have fun around you. But make sure that nothing is left to the misinterpretation, okay? Also, if you make a mistake, okay, if you make a mistake and point the wrong direction, all right, or you have to pick up a foul or something that's confusing, you literally stop the game at that point and you let everybody get where they want to get. We are not quickly restarting that situation. That is definitely not a quick restart situation when we made an error or something was confusing. All right, so communicate that and manage that game appropriately, and you'll have a lot better results. All right, recommend moving towards scrimmage area as single to help police players. Okay. All right, so think about what this is saying. We're talking specifically about a mechanic here. Recommend moving towards scrimmage area as single to help police players, as well as moving from GLE towards end line as play transitions for better position. Okay, so I think we're talking about two different situations here. Recommend moving towards scrimmage area as single, right, to help police the players. So this could be post goal, okay, where the single should come in. So in my ideal world, okay, and what you see done properly, and actually what is specifically done in an international mechanic, is the single side actually has to come in to the top of the restraining box. That's actually where he hands the ball off, because they still use the old mechanic in international, or at least they did the last time that I did an international game. But you want to get in there and pay attention to what is going on around you. Okay, can you discourage unsportsmanlike behavior? Can you get guys off the field quicker? Okay, can you make sure that you have the 3-and-3 and you see certain people going off the field? All right, anything that you can do to help the new face-off official get play started quickly will help. All right, now the next one is probably intended for the lead, as well as moving from GLE towards the end line as play transitions for better position. So remember, what's supposed to happen is that the lead official is supposed to move towards the end line for what I call, you hear me use the term slow rollers all the time, okay? The 90-mile-an-hour shot that goes out of bounds that you can call without moving, not a problem, okay? But if you have a loose ball, okay, or you have a shot that's contested, you should be moving towards the end line. While you are at the end line, the singles job is to come cover the goal line for you, cover GLE for you while you're there. And then you should transition really back to the GLE while the ball is coming back in play, and hopefully be there by the time the ball is put back in play. You don't need to officiate the end line anymore, because the player now picking up the ball will be moving away from the end line and you will be racing to catch up with him. All right, so that's the time. Don't wait until after you put the ball back in play to recover your position. Do it during the process of him picking up the ball and coming back on the field. All right. And then finally, we wanted to talk about what the referee classroom looks like. All right, not really, just a little bit of a cartoon to close everything out. All right, so remember, this is the way people see it. It's the blind leading the blind. Okay, we know that there certainly is a lot of information out there about the lack of officials and the way people treat officials. And the good news is it's getting a lot of attention. And I would expect there will be some things put in place. There will be some different things happening. I was actually at a game the other night, all right, unannounced, if Crude never knew I was there. And we were sitting high up, and it looks like that the dad is the announcer, and the dad was coming out of, he was announcing, but coming out of the box and standing on the steps during play, only announcing the goals to watch the game, yelling at the officials and then yelling at the AD that the officials suck and all this other stuff. And I was just sitting there going, I started videotaping it and was laughing, and you know, luckily the AD finally told him to shut up. And it was, you know, he may have had a few points here or there, all right, some things that you know, could have been called, but anybody watching probably has a few points every game. We all have things that we could improve upon in those games, and we all maybe make a little mistake here or there in every game. All right, so make sure that you know, realize that you are the best. You guys do work hard. I hope that Rob and I convey to you how important you are to us, not only helping us get our job done, but the fact that we really appreciate you being out there. It's great when you show up for the happy hours. We hope to see you at the picnic. I will tell you, one of the other things that we're talking about, it kind of started as a joke, but now there is a conversation about it, that WALOA will be covering the Division 6 state championship game at John Champ on Saturday, June 11th at 2:30 p.m. And there's a conversation about all of us wearing our ref shirts and having the ref out. Now, again, if it's like 97 degrees outside, we may not want to wear them. But again, that may be a ref out, just to come there in solidarity and show our support, all right, for our officials during that game. All right, so might be something that we try to organize, that maybe we can have organize a little get together afterwards. Okay, so we'll let you know more about that as things develop. But again, I can't convey to you enough that, you know, I'm proud of you. I'm happy with the job that everybody is doing. But just like anything, I'm never satisfied, because I always feel like I can do better, we can do better. And that's what we're going to keep moving towards. Okay. The minute that I become complacent, you become complacent, then we're not the best anymore. We get better every single time. People know we're good. Every time I talk to an official that moved to another area or has come from another area, we are the standard that people measure themselves by. And they understand that we do things the right way, that we get better every single time we're on the field, and that we truly are the best group of high school officials in the country. And I honestly believe that. All right. That's all I got. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're watching this early, if you don't get this till Monday, I hope that you were able to make use of the time. Shortly after I finish this up and get it ready to post, I'll shoot an email and let everybody know that we had it as an on-demand service tonight. All right. So I hope you appreciate the night off. And again, thank you for all you do, and we'll see you guys soon.